Hello guys, welcome to Shiv Automation Testing. So today we are going to discuss about API interview questions that every QA should know about it. So this video is basically whoever is planning or preparing for their next interview for 2 to 4 years of QA engineers, or whoever wants to learn about the basic idea about the API testing, like freshers they can also learn about these things, and also the automation testers who have already some experience on rest assured or postman, but they wanted to know more about like what kind of a questions they will get in the interview questions. So they can also listen or about this video. And of course the manual tester, whoever is planning to move to from manual testing to automation and wanted to learn more about the API testing, those people can also listen to this video, and they can get more idea about like how the things go in API testing. Okay, so let's move to the first question, where I will just first read it out the question, and then we will go over the answers, like how we can answer in the interviews. Okay, so the first question is key difference between put, patch, and post. So this is the highly asked question because many people get confused between the put, patch, and post differences. So post is used to create a new data. Put is something where you replace the entire data or the resource with the help of ID, and patch where you update only part of the resource. Again, it required the ID. So suppose if I want to give one example, in post we can add a new book in a library. In put we replace the entire book details like title, author, and year. So that is done in the put. In patch, we can change only the author's name while keeping rest as same. So that is done in the patch. Okay, moving to the next question. What is the 503 status code used for? So 503 status code means service is temporarily unavailable. Could be reasons due to maintenance or overloading. Suppose I give you one example. Suppose you have seen like in Swiggy or Zomato, sometime it shows server is busy. Like when too many people are ordering the same thing, so service is temporarily unavailable on that time. Moving to next question, difference between 408 and 504. So 408 request timeout is basically where client took too long to send the request, and in 504 it's a gateway timeout where server was waiting for another server but it did not get reply in that particular time. So for example, in 408 request timeout, you start uploading a file but internet drops midway. So where you can get the request timeout. But in 504, you have hit the API and API calls the database, but database did not respond in that particular time. So what you will get, basically, you will get 504 gateway timeout. Okay. Now moving to next question, how do you test API protected by OAuth 2.0? Okay, so in this you can get the access token from OAuth server by passing the client credential secrets to get the token, and once you use that token in API request inside the authorization headers. Okay, so this way you can easily use that particular token which is provided by the OAuth 2.0 service. Okay, so moving to the next question. This is something unique. I got it in one of the interview. What is idempotent HTTP method? So I will tell you, like it's a in idempotent HTTP method is basically if we are sending the same request once or 100 times, but it will give you the same result. Okay, let me give you one example. Suppose you are hitting the get request again and again, right? So you will get the same response. So that is one of the example of idempotent method. Okay, then there is another idempotent method like put and delete. Okay, so these are the idempotent methods, HTTP method, but post is not an idempotent. Why? I will tell you, because in post what happens, suppose you are creating a request which is creating a user or a person in a database, and you are hitting post request and again, so it might create a duplicate records, right? So it is not giving you the same response or the same result every time. Okay, so yeah, And moving to the next question, how do you test API error handling? Okay, so we can answer this question like by sending the invalid or unexpected input and checking the correct error codes. Basically, we are getting it or not. So suppose we are hitting one particular API and we are sending the invalid token. So what we will get it? We will get it 401 unauthorized. Okay, and suppose another example where we are trying to pass the wrong data into the server or hitting to the API, then what we will get? We will get 400. That means bad request. That means whatever we are sending to the server, it does not comply or follow the particular request that it accepts. Okay, moving to the next question. So this is the scenario based question. You can tackle how you can answer this. So basically the question is you need to test an API that return a list of users. How do you validate the response? So we can tell our approach like we can first check the status code and then we can validate the entire response body. So we have a schema validations, right? So with the help of schema validation we can validate the particular ID, name or email is exist or not, so whether particular field should be a null or not null. So those things can be done with the help of schema validation that we will see. And we can also verify particular array length or the specific value, whether we are getting the correct number or list of users or not, which is returning by the API. Also the same number is present in the database or not, because in API testing what we do, we cross check or we do the testing whatever the data is present in the inside the database and what we are getting in the response. Okay, moving to the next question. So the question is, what do you check in API response body during testing? So again, this is one of the classic interview question to know about your API experience. So what you can do is you can answer this question like while checking the response body, we check the basically whether the data is corrected returned or not. So like the data should match what I requested. So suppose I hit user with one particular user and the response should contain all the detail of that particular user rather than some other user, right? So that is the first thing you can check. And then you will check the data type of that particular response, whether the each field whatever it is present in the response body, it is of a correct data type. So suppose for example you have a age, so age should contain the data type as a number only, right? Integer. It should not be a string or some other data type. And the third thing, what you can see, whether the response contained the mandatory field. So whenever you get the response body, you should always check whether the mandatory fields are present or not. If that is not present, then definitely that is one of the kind of defect you can report to the developer. The another thing is you can check whether a particular field is null or empty, because sometime the contract, the API response is defined as such as the email ID should not contain or come with the value as null, right? Or the empty. So that mandatory field should be there. Then the last one, as I said, you will validate the entire schema, whether the response you have written in a particular JSON or XML format is correct or not, and all the data types of it is there or not. So that you can. Okay, so moving on to the next question. So next scenario-based question is they have recently asked in one of the interview where you have an automation suite and it has 50 APIs. Okay, but all the APIs need a token. So how do you avoid calling that login API for each test? So if suppose we are creating n number of time, 50 times calling that API again and again, that will be overburden, right? So how we can keep it simple, one time request and instead of calling a 50 times. So you can answer them as we can call the login once as in before suite. So in TestNG we have a before suite, right? Or in Postman we have a global variable. So over there what we can do is we can just call that particular token, and once we get that that token, we can store it in before suit or maybe in the base class where before suit exists, and you can call that token in every test cases in your test class. Okay, so this, with the help of this, you can easily avoid calling a login API again and again. Okay, and if the token is getting expired, so you need to add that refresh mechanism or continuous check, where you can easily get to know if the token is expired. You can reheat that particular what we can say that the server to get the new token. Okay, moving on to the next question. What are the common HTTP headers used in API testing? Okay, so you can answer this question as we have multiple things while dealing with the headers. So we have a content type like the format of the request. So whenever we are sending the request, it can be a JSON format or text file format or XML format. So you can say that we have a content type, then we have a tokens authorization that you can talk about in HTTP headers, and then whenever you get the response, so the expected format is also there. So you need to talk about that also to discuss about the HTTP headers while dealing with the in API testing. So for example, you have a get request, right? In that you are expecting it should accept in the application slash JSON format, and authorization should be the token, one of the like token like basic or bearer token. Okay, moving to the next question. What is serialization and how would you use it in the login API test? So before answering this question, let me tell you guys, serialization and deserialization, one of the most asked question, and people having experience or the freshest guy not able to answer theoretical answer as well as the practical implementation. So I would request you to understand this properly with the theory and practical implementation, and for that I am going to create one separate video how we can answer this serialization and deserialization question with the practical implementation as well as theory. So keep watching my next video. Okay, so let me tell you the answer of this. So serialization is basically you create a Java object, right? So suppose person is there or user is there, you create the Java object and you then convert into JSON format, so that the converted Java object into JSON format can be sent in the API request and with the help with in the form of body. Okay, so suppose we have a login API. What we will do for serialization, we need to create one POJO. Okay, login request POJO, and then we will use getter and setters to basically get the values and set the values to particular POJO, and then we once we will create that POJO, we will use and convert into JSON format, and then we can send it into the post request where login happened, and the body is the thing where we will basically serialize it. Okay, so suppose one example, suppose you have created a one class, Pojo is the one of the class, the class name is login request, and you created the object equals to new login request where you have passed the username and their ID. Okay, so in rest assured what you do, you write given dot then body, right? In body what you will do, whatever the login request you have created, okay, that you will pass, and then you will write like post and slash the endpoint basically. So this is how you are going to serialize it. Okay, so that's all about the API interview questions. So if you want more such interview questions with their answers, so I let me know in the comment section. I will try to make more videos on API testing interview questions with the real time, questions. And also, if you want this PDF of this question, so I have created a WhatsApp group basically. Over there, I have shared the this PDF, okay, with the question and answers, so you can get it from there. But for that, you can check the description link and join the WhatsApp group, and then you can have it this question and answer PDF. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, and let's meet in the next video.